some people may think that I make little funny comments like I raise my kids like they in the fucking military. And that is not, I mean, I can see where you could get that maybe, but I will say this, is that you install in these kids what you want them to be like to make life easier on them. In return, it makes life easier on you. How many people know a mother who have lost kids in the street, either been shot or they in jail for selling dope or doing whatever they, you know, whatever it is. Everybody got to make their money the best way they can. I'm not knocking anybody to sell dope. I mean, I wish it didn't have to be like that, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do sometimes. Sometimes. But that doesn't explain away just being reckless out here in the street and running and jumping in front of every bullet you can, having 20 guns and walking down the street pistol whipping on everybody you see, because sooner or later you got a bullet waiting on you or prison. And how many of us know mothers that cry themselves to sleep and have depressed days because all of their children are either dead or in prison? You know, and I'm telling you right now that if you do not start working with your child when they're the youngest, they learn that behavior and that is tolerable only because we're not always keeping them where they need to be. Now, there are some kids that are just bad seed and it don't matter what you do. Yes. Some people say they don't want to have to beat their kids. I'm going to tell you something. I will give a kid a good few ass whoopings here and there as they are growing and they're little. And I've had to learn. I've made my mistakes. I've handed out ass whoopings when I shouldn't have. You know, the worst thing to do is to hand out an ass whooping when you know you've had a bad day. You know, that is the wrong time to hand an ass whooping out to a child. But my daughter is 12 right now, and I probably only given her 3 ass whoopings in her whole life. And most of the time, she knows me well enough, since she's been out of a diaper, to know what I will and will not tolerate. I don't have to raise my voice. All I have to do is give her a certain look, and it don't even have to be a crazy look. It's just a silent look that says, hey man, stop. You know, and then I'll call her over. If she needs further instructions on what to do, then I will correct her then. But you can't say stop and then walk off and don't tell them what to do and show them the right thing to do. Teaching a child when they are young is all they know is what you have taught them. What you reap is what you sow. That's true. You have the opportunity when they're the smallest to say, this is the way life is. This is what you're going. This is your, program to participate. This is what you're going to do. Now, when they go to school, they've got bad influences. That's right. But it is your job to be the #1 influence in their life all the time. Not just with negativity, not just with ass whoopings and punishments, but to reward them. You know, I believe in, yes, making sure that I'm stern with what I say, and on the same level, I also want to reward them. There's negative reinforcement and positive, and I believe in applying both to every situation. You know, depending. In other words, when you give a child negative reinforcement, you also need to give an extra positive reinforcement when they do something good. You will be surprised how often that child wants to please you and do what you and make you happy and make you excited. They want to feel important. They want to feel that they're doing important things, that they're doing the right things. That's what they want to feel. But if you're going to sit there and ignore them when they do the right things and only pay attention to them when they're doing something negative, well, they've learned that. These things they learn when they're young, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These things apply to later on down the road when they're out here in the street. It's the same thing, it's just a different level of behavior, whether it be violence, whatever it may be. A lot of laziness is a very serious thing. You teach your daughter to be lazy, she's going to be looking for a man to take care of her. When that doesn't happen, she she wants to find the next easiest thing to do to get paid. And if that's selling pussy, if that's being on the pole, whatever that is, you know, looking for tricks to take care of them, well, there's a lot of fucking negativity that comes with that life. Disease, you know, not to mention your reputation of being a hoe. I mean, it just, that's it, okay? So you have a lot of women out there, and some people don't get mad, that have kids for the state. I mean, they literally have kids for a check from the state of Kansas. They don't care if that child grows up, becomes a football player and supports them, they're happy. If that child grows up and becomes a drug dealer and supports them and got them in the bins, they happy. If that child grows up to have a ferocious killer reputation, then they know that they're protected. That's how the woman thinks. If he dies, well, a lot of them just keep having kids. One of them is going to succeed. And I know that's going to touch a lot of nerves, but no matter what, we all know somebody like that. You know, we do. You know, even way back when I worked at 24 Rent to Own, you know, I ran into some of these ladies. And that's what you do, that's what you do. That ain't nothing, that ain't got shit to do with what I respect. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I respect these women that get out here every day and do what they got to do to take care of these kids. And some people say, well, you know, she shouldn't have had 12 kids. Let me tell you something. There are the ones that have kids for the state. And when I say have kids for the state, not only do they get SRS and food stamps, and I've heard conversations that, girl, I'm going to give you another $500 a month, you know. But hopefully the little motherfucker makes it. That's crazy. That is crazy to think like that. And I've heard it. I'm not guessing. I'm telling you what I've seen with my own eyes and heard. You can't tell me what I've seen and heard. It's the truth. Also, later on, the county ends up being the kid's daddy, the county jail, because he goes there to learn all the hard lessons that dad should be teaching at home. The thing is, the ones he's learning are the wrong ones. And there are women who get up every day and work 2 goddamn jobs, or they trying to go to school and work a job and take care of kids that they got different dads and none of them are helping. And I know that there's some women that keep their children from the dads and want some other sorry motherfucker to raise them that's going to end up doing worse damage to them than the father who wanted to be involved in their life. In other words, they would keep the dad from being involved in the child's life to teach him a lesson, to hurt him, when really it's hurting the kid. Okay? And then she got some other motherfucker that laying up in the house that might be gang banging, selling dope, whatever, got the feds kicking the door in, got the enemies driving by, doing a drive-by on the house. You with that, with this man's kid, but won't let him see his own kid, and he ain't got nothing to do with that. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of shit I've seen. I'm 50 years old. I've seen a lot of fucking shit. And I usually, you know, I don't even speak on it. But when people are telling me that I'm raising my kid to learn how to shoot firearms and stuff, well, you're doing the same thing. No, you need to pay attention. I had to teach them how to shoot firearms and stuff, and how to shoot, and how to fight, and how to do this, that, because they are out there with these other children who don't give a fuck. And they're going to be in that lane of traffic. And when they're out there, they got to know how to conduct themselves appropriately and defend themselves if they have to. But notice the other lessons that go along with it. If you've ever ran into any of my kids, they hold the door for you. You'll hear them say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please. And not only do they say thank you, but it's a thank you very much at the end of it. Try me. See my child out here. See me. Watch. And prove me that I'm wrong. That's what the first lesson I teach them. What was the lesson you used to say? You can't get respect if you can't learn how to give it. And I used to think that was the dumbest rule when I was a kid. Okay? I was a badass motherfucking kid. I used to be like, I'll get my respect. I ain't kissing nobody's ass to get them to respect me. A pistol upside their head. Motherfucker cut their head open to the white meat. Open your face up like a can of pork and beans. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to get it one way or the other. And I don't necessarily fight fair. I'll steal on your ass while you paying for fuel. I don't give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, when I walk in the building, you will pay attention to me when I walk in. Whether it's negative or whatever, that's how I used to think. But the reality of it is, if a child knows how to respect other people by practicing, they know what to expect in return. For instance, if I'm holding the door for you and you're a grown-ass man and you ain't said thank you or nothing to me, I'm like, hey man, I'm not your bitch. I'm not fucking you. You ain't fucking me. So at the end of the day, you know, speak up or grab your own shit. You know, same thing when a motherfucker pisses on the toilet seat and I have to walk in there, hey man, I'm not your fucking daddy. You pissed right on that fucking seat. I mean, the motherfucking shit's still bubbling, you know? At the end of the day, you got to teach. You got to leave that seat the way you want to find it. So me, I make sure, even if it's sweat off my ass, I wipe it off the motherfucking seat because I don't want anybody to ever accuse me of leaving something dirty. I wash my hands when I leave. I say excuse me when I walk by you. Even if it's your fault, you just walk right in front of me, I'll tell you excuse me and I'll try to walk around. I've done everything I can to keep the peace. But there comes that time when the peace is not going to be able to be kept, and I got to deal with that. I got to deal with a lot of people's kids out here. Kids, young men, teenagers in their early 20s and teenagers talking so crazy that you want to snatch their ass right out of their clothes. But they don't know. You don't see them ever saying, excuse me, you know, please, thank you. None of that shit. And they are always in front of a gun one way or the other, whether they're behind the gun or in front of it. So my child, yes, I teach him exercise, fitness, get up, you know, and I'm not fit. I'm a truck driver, and that's not an excuse. I didn't used to be this big back in the day, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna make sure that my child don't make the same mistakes I made and don't do the same and conduct themselves appropriately, no matter what. If you run into one of mine, you guaranteed to get the door held open for you. You guaranteed to hear please and thank you in a good tone of voice, you know, and make eye contact. All of those things are very important when I'm teaching these kids. And if you teach them when they're young, they only know what you told them. You're the alpha and omega to that child in the beginning. You miss all of the opportunity when that child did not want nobody else's attention but yours and was willing to do whatever you wanted them to do. You missed that opportunity. You were so busy drinking and going to the club and smoking weed. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I ain't nothing with all that if you can do it on your time when that child's not there. How many times have I gone in the house and the whole goddamn house is so cloudy with weed smoke, you can't even find the fucking kids. You don't think that shit has an impact on them as they grow up? You don't think they smell like that when they go to school? Come on, man. I'm just telling you. I know. I worked out at a couple of juvenile facilities myself. I worked out there by Lake Afton and a King's Halfway House. Okay? So at the end of the day, I'm telling you that you have these kids and they're young, this is the easiest time for you to set down the rules and the motherfucking program that you want that child to abide by. This is the opportunity you're gonna miss. Do something to get them on the right trail, and you're gonna have to hold that for a while. When they turn 14, 15 years old, there's a good chance you ain't gotta do shit else. You can walk off. My child gets up in the morning, 6 o'clock, does her chores, feeds the dogs, sweeps the floor, with the dust mop, sweeps the whole house, except for the bedrooms. Cleans the toilet, fucking feeds 5 dogs. The bird, feeds the bird. Does her exercises, her push-ups and set-ups. Does her little yoga stretch before that. Practice her little karate stances that she has to do even before she goes to bed at night, so they're in her mind. Takes karate twice a week. On the weekend, she's mowing the yard or helping me around the house with tools. Yes, knows how to jump start the car, knows how to change the tire on the car. help me put the shocks and brakes on our mom's truck. I can leave her to bolt them, and all I got to do is come back and torque them. So at the end of the day, I spent a lot of time and investment that's going to pay off, not just for her, which is the most important, it's going to pay off for me too later, because I don't have to worry, more than likely, the chances are down of losing my child. Now, I may lose into one of these kids out here that I was talking about earlier. I mean, they may shoot her, stab her, you know, rob her, whatever. But I'm going to make sure I give her every opportunity I can give her now. And that's by laying down what I want her to do. And some people say, well, you know, you don't always follow all those rules. You got to lead by example. I will tell you that I am not one of them parents that believe in that. To a certain degree, yes. You know, to a certain degree, I think you should somewhat reasonably. But if I'm cussing, if you see me drinking, you can't drink. You see me driving, you can't drive a car. So what about that? If they watching me do that, that mean I got to worry about them stealing my keys and driving off of my damn Buick? No. Do I got to worry about them drinking a beer? I mean, now that could happen, but they doing that for a different reason. It's not because they saw me doing it necessarily. I mean, they see me doing all kinds of stuff that they know they can't do. So I don't believe in that. I believe in you do what the hell I tell you, not what you see me do. I'm trying to keep you from my bad habits. You know, now there's some things that you should try to work on, but me, I'm rough, I cuss, whatever. My child knows not to cuss. But when they hear somebody else cussing, you're not intimidating them. You're not scaring them. When they get old enough, they cuss. Do I think they cuss in school? Hell yeah, the motherfuckers be cussing in school. I done went through my daughter's phone before and saw her going off on somebody. A lot of kids do that, but they don't do it at home, and they don't do it in front of elders. They don't do it in front of older people, like, you know, people their parents' age. All of this is what you make it. You make that call. You decide what they're gonna do. You decide what they're not gonna do by what you install in them at a young age. Peyton doing 80 push-ups a day started out as one push-up. That's all she could do when she was 9. And she slowly worked her way up. And the most important thing was the quality and the form of the push-up, not how many. And now she can do what she does today. And she loves to impress me with that. I make a very big deal about it when I see it. And I let them know that it's important to me what I see you doing. You know, I let her know I can't do that. You're doing something I can't do. You know, they love that shit. They want to hear that from you. They want you to. You got to do it when they're young, though. And I mean, if I could have known what I know today, I would have started when she was 8. You know, and she started doing her chores when she was 8. You know, and there's just certain things I don't let her do, and certain things I do let her do when I'm there, when I'm around her. But I'm telling you, if you got young kids, it is not too late for you at all. It is actually time for you to step up and let them know what you expect from them and what the world's going to expect from them later. That's your decision. Okay? After you done all that, and they still end up where they are, that's when you can say, I've done everything I can do. And some of you single moms can only do so much, and I know that, and I feel sorry for you. You know, the ones that are having kids for the state, I don't understand that. I mean, you know, that's, if you're going to do that, that's how you can at least give them a fair shot by showing them how to conduct themselves, how to act like a man. And that don't mean going out and pulling out a gun and all that other shit. You can show them, you can help them. But no, you want to wait and see who's going to make it through the dust. I don't understand that shit. I ain't got no understanding for it. And I see them out here all the time. I run into them, see them in the old town running around acting crazy. I see all that shit. And, it, you know, I can't say nothing to them. You know, I can't say a damn thing to them. It's too late. You know, they have to figure it out on their own with the help of the Lord, hopefully. So, Anyway, I just thought I would put that out there today.